In the middle of the Black Sea, a giant Russian warship started to burn. It was called the Moskva. Ukraine hit it with a missile called Neptune, and that one shot changed the war. But now, something even bigger has arrived, a new missile. They call it the Long Neptune. Its nickname? The Moscow Killer. It can fly 1,000 kilometers. That means it can reach deep into Russian territory. It can hit Moscow. It can hit oil fields, military bases, and supply lines. This is not a gift from the West. Ukraine built it alone. No restrictions, no rules, just rage, technology, and a will to survive. Now imagine this. A giant missile rolls down the street on Independence Day in Kyiv. It's painted with pride, but its target lies hundreds of miles away, somewhere in Russia. And tonight, some in the Kremlin can't sleep, because if this missile is real, then the war has just entered a new chapter, one that could change everything. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover the truth behind the Moscow Killer and find out, is this Ukraine's biggest weapon yet? In April 2022, the world watched something unthinkable. A Russian warship, the pride of its navy, was hit. It was the Moskva, the flagship of Russia's Black Sea Fleet, and it went down. Ukraine had done the impossible. They used a homemade missile, the Neptune. It was built in secret, small, simple, range, just 300 kilometers. But it worked. It struck the Moskva and sank it. In one shot, Russia lost its strongest ship. And Ukraine, they proved that even a weaker nation can fight back. The world cheered, but Ukraine was already thinking ahead. What if the Neptune could fly farther? What if it could hit deeper, not just in the sea, but across the land? They didn't talk about it. No speeches, no press, just work. Done quietly, in labs and bunkers. They started building something bigger, stronger, longer range. A missile that wouldn't stop at the coast. One that could reach Moscow. The world forgot about Neptune, but Ukraine never stopped building. They were crafting a new weapon, piece by piece. Now 3 years later, the world finally sees it. A missile reborn. From the ashes of the Moskva came something deadlier. The Moscow Killer. But how did they do it? How did Ukraine turn a coastal missile into a long-range weapon that could shake Russia to its core? In 2023, whispers began to spread. Ukraine was building something new. A longer Neptune. A deeper strike weapon. A missile that didn't stop at 300 kilometers, but could fly 3 times farther. People didn't believe it at first. How could a country under bombs and blackouts still have time to build missiles? But Ukraine's engineers were relentless. They didn't copy. They didn't borrow. They redesigned everything from scratch. Fuel, engine, warhead, body, everything got an upgrade. The old Neptune was a sea hunter. This one, it could fly 1,000 kilometers, across borders, across rivers, across the Russian front. In secret labs, the pieces came together. They called it the Long Neptune. No one saw it, no one heard it, until August 2025, Independence Day. As crowds cheered in Kyiv, the missile rolled out, sleek, dark, heavy. Its shadow stretched across the map. From Kyiv to Moscow, Zelensky stood before the world. He looked at the missile. Then he said the words no one expected. It's already been used. Not tested. Used. In combat. And it worked. This wasn't a warning. It was a message. Ukraine wasn't just defending anymore. It was striking back. And now everyone had the same question. What makes this new missile so deadly? Because if the original Neptune could sink the Moskva, what could the Long Neptune destroy? A base? An oil field? A city? The world called it the Moscow Killer. But what's really inside this missile? What makes it so dangerous? Start with the body. It's huge. More than 6 meters long. Wings stretched wide. Fuselage thick and heavy. It looks like a plane, but flies like a ghost. Then come the fuel tanks. Not double, not triple. They're massively expanded. That's the secret. That's how it flies 1,000 kilometers without stopping. From Kyiv to Crimea, from Odessa to Rostov, from Kharkiv to Moscow. The range changed everything. But range isn't enough. You still need a killer punch. The warhead, it's still brutal. About 150 kilograms of steel, fire, and explosive death. That's enough to gut an oil depot, shatter a command center, or burn a warship to the sea floor. But here's the twist. That's not the scariest part. The power isn't in the blast. The real weapon is reach. No Russian base is safe. No airfield is far enough. No general can hide behind the front lines anymore. Because if it's on the map, the long Neptune can reach it. This isn't about numbers. It's about psychology. One missile changes how every commander sleeps at night. They no longer ask if it will come. They ask when and from where. Because the long Neptune doesn't need a ship. It can launch from a truck, from a field, from a road. It can appear anywhere, fly under radar, then hit before you even know it was there. So now the big question, where has Ukraine already used this? Because the Moscow killer isn't just for parades. It's been fired, it's been tested, and it's already changed the battlefield. March 14th, 2025. A massive explosion lights up the sky in southern Russia. The Afipsky oil refinery, one of the biggest in Krasnodar, burns for hours. Flames climb 100 feet high. Black smoke chokes the air. Russia stays quiet, but Ukraine speaks loud and clear. They confirm it. Not a drone, not a foreign missile. It was their own, the long Neptune. And suddenly everything changes. This wasn't Crimea. This wasn't a border hit. This was deep inside Russia, over 500 kilometers from Ukraine's launch zones. And yet, direct hit. One missile, one message. Russia's heartland is no longer safe. It's not just oil refineries now. Air bases, fuel depots, command bunkers. Every military target behind the front line, now within reach. And here's what makes it worse for Moscow. Drones can be jammed. Western missiles can be tracked. But the long Neptune? It's Ukrainian built. It's stealthy. And it's not on NATO's leash. No one tells Ukraine when or where to fire. No export controls. No foreign vetoes. No restrictions. Full control. That's the terror. The Kremlin can't predict the next strike because Ukraine holds the trigger. And the long Neptune? It's not a one-time show. It's ready to fire again. Anywhere. Anytime. One moment, peace. The next, a fuel tank exploding in Belgorod. A radar site vanishing in smoke near Rostov. The psychological warfare is just beginning. Russia knows it. Its troops feel it. Its generals can't sleep through it. This wasn't just a missile test. It was a declaration. Ukraine's firepower is now strategic. Long range, home-built, unstoppable. But here's the question. Why is this missile more terrifying than all the others? Why do drones and HIMARS feel like toys next to this? The answer is what comes next. Western weapons come with rules. Storm Shadow, ATACMS. They're powerful, but limited. They come with conditions. They come with contracts. They come with politics. You can fire here, but not there. You can use them now, but not then. Ukraine knows this pain, fighting a war with one hand tied, waiting for approvals, held back by fear of escalation. But now, that era is over, because the long Neptune changes everything. No paperwork, no permission slips, no foreign hand holding the trigger. President Zelensky stands tall. He says it clearly. This missile comes without restrictions. Ukraine decides. Ukraine commands. Ukraine fires. It doesn't matter if it's a fuel depot in Rostov, or a base near St. Petersburg, or even a radar station near Moscow. Nothing is off limits. Because this missile, it answers to no one but Ukraine. That's the fear in every Russian war room. Not the missile itself, but the freedom behind it. A weapon without chains, a launch without delay. Every general knows, if Ukraine sees a target, it can strike it that same night. No politics, no pauses, just fire. And that's the difference. The Storm Shadow must follow London's rules. ATACMS must obey Washington's lines. But the long Neptune, it answers to Kyiv. And Kyiv alone. This freedom gives Ukraine something even deadlier than firepower. It gives them speed. It gives them timing. It gives them the element of surprise. And when surprise is mixed with a 1,000-kilometer range, even Russia's safest bunkers start to feel small. This isn't just about missiles. It's about taking control of the war. And now, everything is in reach. For the first time in this war, Moscow is within range. Not just Kherson, not just Crimea, but Moscow, Volgograd, Nizhny Novgorod, all now in the crosshairs. Because the long Neptune can fly 1,000 kilometers. This is the new battlefield. It's not just trenches, it's psychological. Ukraine didn't just build a missile, it built uncertainty. And that's how you shake a superpower. From the inside. The battlefield has moved. And this time, it's inside Russia. Not near the front, not in Ukraine, but deep in Russia's heartland, where people once felt safe, where they said, "This war isn't ours." Now, the sky burns red at night. Oil depots explode, factories burn, and something else burns too: fear. For the first time, ordinary Russians feel the war touching them. Drones annoyed, but these new missiles terrify. They don't buzz. They vanish into silence, then strike with fire. And with every explosion comes a message: you are not untouchable. The Ukrainian army says these refinery attacks have already caused $74 billion in damage. That's nearly 4% of Russia's entire economy. Not just numbers, jobs lost, fuel rationed, trains delayed. The war is no longer just on TV. It's outside the window. It's in the screams, in the sirens, and in the questions Russians ask every day. Where is safe now? Meanwhile, across the border, in Kiev, people cheer. They see justice. They see payback. The same missiles that once hit Ukrainian cities now fly in reverse. And for the first time, Ukraine feels powerful. Not just surviving or striking. The emotional war has flipped. Russia loses calm. Ukraine gains confidence. This is the new war. Not just of bombs and blood, but of minds. And here lies the twist. Russia's biggest fear isn't losing land. It's losing control of its people. If the long Neptune keeps hitting, if the fear keeps spreading, then the real cracks may not be in concrete. They may be in the Kremlin itself. So now the question is this the final blow? Or is the war only just beginning? This missile is powerful, but its real strength is not in the warhead. It's in where it was made. Because the Moscow killer didn't come from NATO. It didn't come from the US. It came from inside Ukraine. Built under air raid sirens. Built during blackouts. Built while cities were burning. And still, it flies. Right now, 40% of Ukraine's frontline weapons are made at home. 95% of drones, also Ukrainian. And that's the true shock for Russia. Because even if foreign aid stops, even if NATO hesitates, Ukraine keeps building. They don't need permission. They don't need foreign factories. They've made their own war machine. One that grows stronger, even under fire. Yes, Russia can bomb arms depots. Yes, they can strike power grids. But Ukraine's weapons aren't made in one place. They're made in many places. Hidden, mobile, hard to kill. And every time a new missile rolls off the line, it sends a message. We don't need you to survive. The Moscow killer is not just a missile. It's a symbol of a country that no longer begs, no longer waits. It builds faster, cheaper, smarter every day. That's what makes this terrifying for Russia. Because this war is no longer about one missile or even 10. It's about a nation becoming a factory, a battlefield becoming a production zone. And the front lines? They now have a local supplier, one that never sleeps, never stops, and never runs out. The Moscow killer is just the beginning, and Russia knows it. This missile won't end the war overnight, but it ends something else. It ends the illusion that Moscow is safe. For the first time since this war began, Russia's heart is exposed. The long Neptune doesn't just reach targets. It reaches into the minds of Russian leaders. It whispers, "Nowhere is safe." From this day forward, every Russian airbase, refinery, and radar station must look to the sky in fear. The game has changed, because now the hunter is also being hunted. This missile was not bought, not gifted, not borrowed. It was built in secret workshops, under falling bombs, by engineers who refuse to stop. And now, the Kremlin must rethink every step, every speech, every supply line, every air raid. The journey of this missile is more than just metal. It's a message. So ask yourself, is this the final turn in Ukraine's favor? Or the spark that sets the world on fire? This isn't just a missile. It's a message of survival, of defiance, of Ukrainian power, built under fire. You've seen how it was made, how it was tested, how it was used to shake Russia at its core. The Moscow killer has changed the war's shape. And now, the world is watching. Will it be game over for Russia? Or will the Kremlin strike back even harder? Subscribe for more deep dives into the weapons rewriting global power. And tell us in the comments, is this the turning point or just the calm before a bigger storm?